Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.
Crypto Luna had a 100% fall in 7 days. Several exchanges have delisted it. All of it will be decoded in today's show because it's been quite a week. This is Coffin Crypto. I'm Arun Singh. Let's begin the show with big stories of the week, and Terra dominates all of these headlines. 7 days ago, that is on 6th of May, Terra Luna was trading at around $80.68. Today, it is at 0.0000331. So the biggest headline is that Terra Luna is down 100%. And cryptocurrency exchanges have also started delisting this token amid its crash. Some Indian and international exchanges have temporarily suspended deposits and withdrawals on Terra network. CoinSwitch has also delisted it very shortly. Now, Terra is a network. Terra Luna is one token and Terra USD is another. It's also called UST. It's a stablecoin. It slipped below its 1:1 peg to the dollar this week, roiling cryptocurrency markets already under pressure alongside tumbling stock markets. It lost its peg to the dollar and traded as low as $0.16 to the US dollar. Now, Terra USD will be backed by reserves in future, its co-founder said in a tweet on Wednesday, in an attempt to steady the cryptocurrency by adjusting its complex pegging mechanism. He tweeted, "Before anything else, the only path forward will be to absorb the stablecoin supply that wants to exit before UST can start to repeg. There is no way around it. We propose several remedial measures to aid the peg mechanism to absorb supply." That's Terra CEO Do Kwon. Now, cryptocurrencies nursed large losses on Friday, with Bitcoin pinned below $30,000 and set for a record losing streak. Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency by total market value, attempted a bounce early in the Asia session. It rose 2% to $29,500, something of a recovery from a 16-month low of around $25,400 that reached on Thursday. Ethereum dropped over 20% in a week. Ethereum touched $1,821 on 12th of May, lowest since July 2021. A massive sell-off in cryptocurrencies wiped over $200 billion of wealth from the market in just 24 hours, according to estimates from price tracking website CoinMarketCap. Now, before we start the chat on Terra, let's understand what is a stablecoin, since Terra USD is a stablecoin. So a stablecoin is a digital token pegged to the value of traditional asset. Attempt is to offer price stability. But what do stablecoins do? They try to bridge the gap between regular versus cryptocurrency. Types of stablecoins. They're divided majorly on two types. One is asset-backed stablecoin. These are backed by fiat, other cryptocurrencies, or commodities. Although susceptible to volatility risks of the underlying asset, the price of asset-backed coins is unlikely to drop below its value. Now, the second type is non-asset-backed. This type is also called algorithmic-backed. It utilizes special algorithms to manage its supply, similar to how money is issued and disposed of in a traditional banking system. Algorithms can change the supply volume of coins to maintain their price. Remember, UST is an algorithmic stablecoin. The nature of the system requires a constant demand for stablecoins, which is not always guaranteed. But how stable are stablecoins? There are some concerns which we want to list here. Now, they are affected by vulnerability of platform where it's held. Then there's risk associated with counterparties like banks holding the collateral, and then there's risk associated with the reserve or the collateral. So this was a brief introduction on what a stablecoin really is. But now let's understand Terra. I'll give you a brief introduction to Terra. We've understood what a stablecoin is because USD is a stablecoin and it's an algorithmic stablecoin. And now you know what an algorithmic stablecoin is. No, so the Terra ecosystem was created by a startup called Terraform Labs in 2018, founded by Do Kwon and Daniel Shin, and we just read out a tweet by Do Kwon. But how does it work? So to maintain its stablecoin's equilibrium, Terra mints and burns tokens. Here's what that means. Before you can buy UST, you'll have to mint some. To do so, you'll pay the going rate in Luna. the protocol takes those Luna and burns them, which constricts their supply and makes the price of Luna go up just a bit. Now the same works in reverse as well. To mint Luna, you will convert USD stablecoins. Those get burned and the price of USD goes up ever so slightly. Now, this can be a bit confusing, but let's understand that these two, which is Luna and USD, they come in pair. But why did it fall? So Luna and USD, they come in pair, I just told you. When the price of USD changes, this creates opportunity for people to arbitrage for Luna. Arbitrage is a technique of gaining from differences in the price of crypto. We've covered this in our previous episode. We've done a full explainer also on this. Now, considering the market is already in a bad condition, this flush of investors going for arbitrage didn't happen in enough volume. It didn't happen in the volume that was required. But then, this should have happened to all algorithmic backed coins. Why did only USD fall? So USD offers a very unique thing, which is called Anchor Protocol, which means it was offering 20% of yield. If you deposit USD, this makes it a very attractive deal. So people not just invested in Anchor Protocol, but also lent money to invest in it because they wanted that extra 20%. Now, once the price became a little unstable, the panic set in, investors rushed in to take their money out because they had lent it. So they feared that they won't be able to pay it back. And that is why, and that is how it actually really fell. So that's all from my side on this explainer, but now we'll go on the discussion part. We have two great experts. We have Ajit Khurana, crypto evangelist and expert, founder, Genesis Network. He's helped me a lot in this explainer as well. I had a long chat with him while I was trying to understand it. He helped me decode it. And then on the other hand, we have Sharat Chandra, VP Research and Strategy, Earth ID. I love how he also decodes stuff in a very simple language. I want to begin with you, Mr. Khurana. Can Terra really revive at the moment?
There are two parts to this. Even if economically and programmatically it revives, it is never going to revive in the hearts or minds of the investors. While of course it is only reasonable to expect the founder, Do Kwon, to say that he will try to do it. But I think that I personally don't see that happening, and I'm not very excited to see that attempt.
We'll come to what he really tweeted because I would like you to decode that as well. But on that note, I would also like to go to Mr. Chandra here. Can Terra really revive?
I don't see that happening because this is not the first time an algorithmic stablecoin has failed, even Basis Cash. And there are reports that the current founder was also involved with Basis Cash. Basis Cash has also failed. And similarly, there was another coin called Iron Coin, or the Titan token, where one of the leading Shark Tank investors, Mark Cuban, lost a fortune there. So algorithmic stable coins have a history of failure because people are still not able to figure it out how to get the algorithm.
But do you also think that it's bringing bad name to stable coins, which are usually preferred otherwise?
Yes. Yeah. So ultimately, it has come down to the binary of collateralized versus non-collateralized stablecoins. And what this will eventually lead to a more stricter stablecoin regulation in geographies like EU or US, because one of the recent financial stability reports released by the Fed, they came down heavily on the reserve assets these stablecoins hold. And if you look at the reserve assets, there's no reserve when it comes to algorithmic stablecoins. But if you look at other USDC for that matter, or Tether, so Tether also lost its peg, right? So quality of reserve assets is very, very important. So if you look at Tether's reserves, more than 30% of their reserves are in commercial bonds or commercial papers. So quality of reserve assets is also very, very important. And that's where it's important to have liquid reserve assets with respect to stablecoins. I don't see algorithmic stablecoins picking up from now on. In fact, they will be with stricter regulations going forward.
Okay, Mr. Khurana, just in my explainer, I also flashed a tweet. If we can have that tweet again on the screen. Other than that, there's another tweet from Kwon, which says we endorse the community proposal 1164 to increase base pool from 50 million to 100 million SDR. I mean, okay, there's this tweet and there's one tweet which is on the screen. What does he mean? What does the strategy really mean here? What's the strategy to revive Terra here?
The industry of stablecoin has largely preferred algorithmic stablecoins, the most famous one being MakerDAI. And the biggest asset-backed stablecoin, which is USDT, has always been suspicious for the reason that Sharat Chandra just listed. The problem is that now people are starting to doubt algorithms, which by the way can spread beyond stablecoin because the entire world of cryptocurrency runs off smart contracts and algorithms. So if we are lax in edge situations, but to tell you about what he's proposing partial or whole asset backing, collateralization of a stablecoin, which means giving up the path that it had so far. And what he's saying is that he'll come up with a mechanism to absorb the loss, which means the whatever 10, 11, 13 billion dollars worth that investors were holding, let us say its value today is 1 billion or so, maybe 2 billion. There's going to be some mechanism he's going to come up with to absorb all the loss until that point of time. I find all of this dead cat bounce, which means the cat has already died, but it's falling from a great height. So it does bounce back, but that does not mean it's alive.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to bring it back to what it was. Right?
Well, it will bring it back only if, so suppose I lose money and you say, okay, you know what, here's money from my pocket. If that could be done, then it is a bailout. I don't know where $10 billion of bailout is going to happen from.
But based on this incident, would you say that algorithmic stablecoins are flawed, the entire idea, the mechanism?
Actually, I also, like some people in the industry, believe that algorithmic stablecoins are the only way to go because the asset, what asset are you going to keep? Are you going to keep money in the bank? What if the bank fails? Are you going to buy AAA rated bonds? What if there is a 2008-like crisis? So the assets cannot be flawless. The algorithm, however, can be largely flawless, as we have seen in some other algorithmic coins. So I think that what we need is greater audit, better technology, less arrogance and ego, and more openness to the algorithm. I still believe in algorithmic stablecoins.
Would you agree, Mr. Chandra?
I would partially agree because since Ajit has said that the algorithm has to be gotten right, and since if you're not getting the right mix of reserve assets, because all these assets can also fall in price. If you're holding gold can also face same amount of fluctuation, but not as grave as the algorithmic stablecoin. So a lot will depend upon how are you able to get the code right or the algorithm right. And it remains to be seen because we have seen a series of past failures when it comes to algorithmic stablecoins. So I'm going by the past history. I'm not so optimistic, but again, let's be hopeful that maybe someday we'll have an algorithmic stablecoin which can maybe mitigate all the fluctuations in the market.
Okay. Mr. Khurana, now, there's a huge panic amongst those who were holding this, and there are several exchanges which have delisted Terra coin. So what would you like to tell them? I mean, what's their solution now? I mean, of course, they've lost all their money. So
I'm not associated with any exchange, but if I were, I would also be tempted to delist, because if the blockchain on which the stablecoin moves itself becomes unstable, tomorrow I may not be able to transfer, deposit or withdraw. I may have no choice. At that point of time, the liability could be on me because I have not been able to offer consumer protection to my consumers. So frankly, everybody's hands are tied when the underlying technology fails. Having said that, I must give people, your viewers, 3 warnings. Number one, if something is too good to be true, such as getting 20% sustained interest on UST stablecoin, then it is too good to be true. As in, please stay away from these great dreams. Number 2 is that we are trusting algorithms beyond just stablecoins. So ideally, if you don't have any specific knowledge, don't go into much smaller coins which don't even present enough information to research them. Go with the more established coins which are more open in nature. And finally, please don't borrow money to invest in the crypto markets or borrow money to invest into interest-bearing crypto assets. That ends as poorly as it has done for UST.
Sure, Mr. Chandra, the overall sentiment is also not great because the market wasn't doing very well before this crash as well. And of course, because of this, it has jolted the entire market. So what's the way forward for people, let's say, who were not holding Terra, but of course, they are terrified at what their portfolio really looks like at the moment. So a quick message from you for them.
I think this is a great buying opportunity for Bitcoin. So people who have a long-term view of the market and some of the fundamentals for Bitcoin, they are looking good. Bitcoin has also rebounded today. So Bitcoin can be one choice. Second would be move to more stable coins, mostly like USDC. I think these will be my 2 cents on this.
Well, thank you so very much, gentlemen, for answering all our questions and helping us decode this Terra terror. But these are my questions and my explainer. But what about your questions? We'll take your queries as well in our next segment, which is called MCQ. That's My Crypto Queries. And a lot of you wrote about Terra. I mean, you had to. So Rohas Nagpal is going to join us after the break. There he is. We'll listen to his answers to your questions. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Coffee and Crypto. Hi, you're watching Coffee and Crypto. I'm Arun Singh, and now we have the segment which is made by you, for you, and it's from you. It's called MCQ. That's My Crypto Queries. We have Rohas Nagpal, Chief Blockchain Architect, Hi-Fi Blockchain, joining us, and we have your queries as well. First is from Mayank. He's asking, is Luna safe to buy now?
No, not at all. I think we must now let that project go. I don't think there are any chances of it rebouncing.
Yeah, because the blockchain is halted and a lot of people are still thinking that, you know, since it's so low, probably that's a great time to buy it. And that's why I think this question is also there.
In fact, you correctly mentioned the blockchain is halted, and that is never supposed to happen. Blockchains are supposed to be decentralized. But here it has proven to us that it is totally centralized, that one authority can actually shut the entire chain. So I don't think we should try to get back into this.
Rohas, you are a blockchain expert. If you can give us a brief knowledge about Terra's blockchain and what does halting really mean?
Sure. So when we talk about a blockchain, each blockchain has multiple nodes. So a node could be run on a normal laptop or on a server. And the more the number of nodes run by different people, the more decentralized we call that blockchain. So that no single entity or party can actually stop the chain. That is supposed to be the basic logic behind blockchain.
Right.
But now when Terra comes and says we have halted the entire chain, it proves to us that a very small group of people were running that chain and they could shut it down at any time. In fact, that is the same allegation coming against Solana also. When the entire blockchain went down, for example, for 18 hours at a stretch. That is never supposed to happen.
Okay.
So it has shown us that Terra has been extremely centralized, and I don't think we will ever trust it again.
Right. The essence of it is gone, so hence it's halted. Arshi asked, will Luna really revive?
No, I don't think so. As even on this show, every time we have discussed that I've never been in favor of algorithmic stablecoin. And we have discussed that in due time, all of them do fail because the technology is just not at that level. So no, in my mind, it will not revive.
So all Luna queries are done. Now, Arif's question, what do we know about Codecoin?
So actually, there's something called Codecoin, but it's a completely failed project. So I would say stay away from it. There is no data available. The chain doesn't seem to be working anymore. There is no updated information available. So it is one of those 10, 15,000 projects that has completely failed.
Okay. Gitansh asks, how is CELR?
That's a good question. So CELR is a blockchain bridge. So to give you a very simple example, in India we use rupees. In Singapore we use Singapore dollar. So when an Indian travels there, he can buy Singapore dollar and go. Now what happens in the blockchain world is, on one blockchain, only the tokens of that blockchain are accepted. But if you want to transact in a different blockchain, you use a bridge, and that can allow you to transact across chain. And that is what Stellar Network is. It connects 20 different blockchains. But on social media right now, many people are saying that it is a rug pull. So I would recommend for now, stay away from it.
Oh, okay. So there's note of caution there on that, which is Stellar. Now, last question from Farooq, which is give me some info on Thundertron.
Sure. So actually, there are two, which is Thunderverse and Thundercore. But again, both those projects have totally failed. And in fact, Thundercore is like a blockchain, EVM compatible. But both these projects appear to have completely failed. So I would again say, please stay away.
Okay, I have my last quick question. You know, there's overall sentiment about the market, which is not very great. What would you like to tell the investors at the moment? Because, of course, the market is jolted and we've seen the Terra terror as well.
I think for most of the cryptos which actually have solid use cases, I think the fall is now kind of almost over. But the projects which don't do much and they are just like Ponzi schemes, I don't even think most of them will rebound. So I think this is a good time for us to understand what projects are now not going to come back. And please focus your energy only on the top projects which you are very convinced are having solid use cases.
Okay, thank you so very much, Rohas, for joining us on this show and this segment. With that, we've come to an end of this show. But before I go, I leave you with a pinch of humor because, of course, it's a tough time for a lot of investors. But there are few who are making memes out of this tragedy. I'm leaving you with these tweets That's all that I had on coffee and crypto. This is Arun Singh saying goodbye. Once again, that's all I had for this show. I'm Arun Singh. It's goodbye from my side.
Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.